Today, I'm your host Eric Riches, and today we're going to be talking about cleaning and maintenance on the Oklahoma Joe's Ryder DLX Pellet Grill. Pellet grills require more maintenance than a gas grill or most charcoal grills, but it's still a pretty easy task if you keep on top of it. Now, the first step to keeping your pellet grill clean and well maintained is prevention. My recommendation first and foremost is to get a cover, particularly for this unit. The lid pivots right about here, right on the very top of the cooker. You see that with a lot of units. When it rains, water collects here, it pours into the body of the cooker, then collecting grease and gunk and then pouring out into the cleanout buckets underneath. It can make for a messy proposition. Plus, it's putting a lot of moisture inside your grill, which is going to cause a lot of corrosion and reduce its lifespan. One of the most troublesome problems you might encounter with a pellet grill is an auger jam. The wood pellets get clogged up in the auger, freezing it in place. Pellets won't feed, the grill won't light. Now, you want to prevent this as much as possible. On this model, attach your little pellet bucket under the bottom here, dump the pellets out, clear out the hopper. Do this every time you cook. So even before you take the food off, dump out the pellets. So then turn the grill to high, take your food off, close the lid, and let it run for about 10 minutes. You've cleared the pellets out of the hopper. It's going to take about another 10 minutes to clear all the pellets out of the auger tube. Once that's done, turn it to the shutdown position. This will continue to burn the pellets that are still in the fire pot until that's reduced to ash, and then the grill itself will shut off. Turn the power off and unplug it, and you're done. Next time, you'll dump in more pellets. You'll have to preheat. It's going to have to refill that auger. It's going to take about 10-15 minutes to get it back up to where it will start heating. But this should help prevent you from having auger jams. We'll talk a little bit more about auger jams and how to clear them out in a little bit. Now, once your grill has completely cooled down, you want to clear out the ashes. Now, this should be done after every cookout because there's not a lot of space for the ash. And if the ash accumulates too high, it's going to get in the way of the igniter, and that's going to prevent your pellet grill from starting. An ash-covered igniter will prevent the pellets from combusting. So one of the leading reasons your pellet grill won't start. The pellet grill, however, isn't going to figure that out. So it's going to keep feeding pellets into the fire pot until it just overflows. Which, put this back in place, and then we'll get inside and do some cleaning in there. Now, as with pretty much any grill, you want to start, you're going to take your trusty grill brush, clean off the cooking grates. In this model, I recommend cleaning both sides, top and bottom, just to get most of the gunk off, and then remove the grates one at a time. It's a kind of a tight fit. Now, because of the way this main grate is designed, it's not exactly easy to clean off, but we can knock off a lot of the gunk and residue that's collected pretty easily. I'm just kind of letting all that fall down into the body of the grill. We'll do a little more cleanup on those in a minute. Now this gets us into the works here. I'm just going to scrape off some of these bits. Now this deflector here gets really gunked up because of the way the vents are designed on it. You want to make sure that you get a lot of that cleared out. So that you have good airflow. Now the inside of our grill has ash, it's got grease, it's got food particles, it's got a lot of gunk in here. Now we could get our garden hose out and wash it all down, but that's going to put a lot of moisture inside the grill we don't want to have. So we do what most people do, and that is they vacuum it out. Okay, so a word about vacuums. Do not, under any circumstance, drag your vacuum from inside your house out here to clean out your grill. I mean, not the vacuum you clean your carpets with. It will ruin it. The ash inside pellet grills is so fine, it will get into everything. And I'm not just talking clogged filters. It'll get into motors. It'll just make a huge mess and probably burn out your vacuum. Now you can choose just a regular shop vac, but again, that ash is so fine it's going to clog up the filter in your shop vac. There are ash vacuums specifically designed for cleaning out fireplaces. You can get one of those. It's kind of a specialized item, but you know, the choice is yours. If you're cleaning out your pellet grill a lot, if you're using a lot, you might want to make the investment. So in vacuuming out this unit, I want to move it to the sear mode. It's going to open up my access to the fire pot a little bit. It should help me get at least a lot of the ash out of the fire pot. Okay, so that's cleaned up around the area here, but it hasn't really gotten down in the bottom here. This deflector really gets in the way of trying to get this thing cleaned out, which is where this gets to be a little bit more complicated. To remove the deflector, we first have to remove this handle on the front here, our sear to smoke selector. Position it in the middle, and there's two screws underneath here. They're pretty small too. If you're working on a wood deck, I'd suggest putting down a garbage bag or something. Make sure you don't drop it. Handle just slides out. Now, down inside here are a couple more screws. There's a front plate here, which we have to remove. And now there's a screw up front here, outside of the big deflector ring. A little hard to reach down to. And then there's one in the back here. Now I can lift that deflector off. Now I have access into here. Now, the screen on the bottom of the fire pot is supposed to let the ash just fall through, but it tends to collect up quite a bit. So we're going to go back in with our vacuum and get the rest of the ash out of here. Now the inside is pretty much cleared out. We can reassemble the deflector and put all our cooking grates in, be ready to go. So I've cleaned out the pellet grill, I put everything back in place, and that's pretty much it for your normal cleaning. You'll notice I didn't use any degreasers or any cleaning solutions. The truth is that the grease that accumulates in there, coating all the surfaces, it actually helps protect it from corroding. So you don't want to disrupt that. If you get large pools of grease that's not draining into the buckets, you might need to get in there and clean that out. In that case, you might want to re-season your pellet grill. You'll want to use just a light cooking spray. Look for the canola variety. Don't get butter flavored, don't get olive oil or anything like that. The canola oil has a higher smoke point, so it doesn't break down and gunk up your grill. You can just spray it around, get it on all the surfaces, sides, back. Get the deflector areas. You don't have, if you notice any rusting, corrosion, or any particular dry spots, you want to coat those well. Once you've got that sprayed in there, you're going to want to fire up the pellet grill and let it heat about 200 to 250 degrees, somewhere in that range, for about 20 to 30 minutes. This will allow that grease we've just sprayed in there, that oil, to seep into all the nooks and crannies and protect the inside of our unit. Now, keeping your Ryder DLX clean and well seasoned should dramatically improve its life expectancy. You're not going to get as much internal corrosion, and the grill should work a lot better. You're not going to get as many problems. Now, clearing the ash from the collector in the bottom after every cook and getting in there once in a while to make sure the ash is not accumulating in the fire pot should prevent an ignition failure. If the grill doesn't light and there's no ashes in there, then it's either an issue with the electronics or something else. You'll probably want to contact Oklahoma Joe's about that. The one remaining big issue that we want to look at is going to be auger jams. This happens because pellets bind up inside the auger unit and prevent it from turning properly. It could be because the pellets got damp and expanded, locked it in place, or sometimes it can just be bad luck. Now, clearing out an auger jam can actually be a pain. So we're going to take this a bit in steps to see if we can make some progress without having to disassemble the whole grill first. Now, in our hopper, we have this nice little safety feature here. This is to keep people from getting their fingers down in the auger. The motor is strong enough to take your finger off. So if you or someone in your household might be prone to getting their finger down in there, you can leave this on. You didn't hear me say it, but if you need to get in there a lot, you can also just take it out. Now, you can see down here we have the auger running at the bottom of the hopper here. To clear the jam, if we can move this back and forth a little bit, we might just be able to free it up. Just working it back and forth. There's a little bit of play in here. Now, that play is actually designed into the system here. It kind of actually helps prevent our auger from jamming, since it can move around a little bit. If this doesn't get us where we want to be, then we're going to have to look at the hopper from the other side. Okay, so I've removed the cooking grates and our deflector plate. The baffle section is still in place so far, and I'm going to go by what the manufacturer recommends as a way of clearing an auger jam, and that is one of life's most useful tools, a coat hanger. Okay, so I've clipped off the hook. Bend this around a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is try and feed it down the auger tube. This is not as easy as Oklahoma Joe's might want you to think it is. There's a lot of stuff in the way, and of course, if you're trying to thread a piece of wire down a corkscrew, and a corkscrew that's also full of wood pellets. But a little patience. I should be able to get it down pretty far in the tube. Try and break up your jam. Now, if that still doesn't work and you've tried approaching from both angles, you can take your wire hanger and try and come in from the other side of the auger, see if you can get the jam there. So the next step in clearing an auger jam is going to be largely disassembling this whole section here. That means removing the control panel, disconnecting all the connections in there, and then removing the screws that hold this whole assembly on, so you can pull this side out to get the motor assembly out. And then you have to put it all back together exactly the way it was. It's not an easy process. Now, this whole unit, including the tube that feeds to the fire pot, is one single assembly. If you can disconnect the temperature sensor inside, unplug it from here, you can lift this entire unit out, and that will give you a little bit better access to the auger. Plus, you can tip it on end and hopefully shake out the pellets. I actually find that's a little bit easier of a process than trying to remove the whole motor assembly from it. This is a pretty intact unit. It's not really designed to be taken apart by the consumer so much. This is one of the reasons why auger jams are the most frustrating things you're going to get with a pellet grill. Oklahoma Joe's hasn't exactly made it easier, but it is a fact of life for pellet grills. So this has been my tips on maintenance and cleaning of the Oklahoma Joe's Ryder DLX pellet grill. I hope you found this information useful. I have other videos on this pellet grill. I will add links to those down below and hopefully inside the video itself. If you like this video, I hope you consider subscribing, sticking around, because I will keep coming out with new videos as time goes by. Thank you very much for watching.